This is me being on the best pace that anyone has ever been on at this point, and this is me flipping my Banshee.
Oh, for f***'s sake.
And this is me beating the longest standing GTA 3 record in history on that same run. A run light years ahead of its time and deemed almost untouchable, almost too daunting for anyone to attempt to beat. GTA 3 any% is a very strange category. Despite being a popular game, boasting a respectable 237 players on the speedrun.com leaderboard, the world record has only been exchanged amongst 8 players over the course of 13 years. Certain eras of the game can be defined by the runner who held the record or by the back and forth robbery that took place. Despite all of this, no one world record has ever surpassed the 365-day mark without the run being bested by the record holder or someone else. This would change around the start of the decade, where a record would not only surpass the 365-day mark, but would stand for a little more than twice as long, 760 days. While 760 days may seem on the low side for longest standing records, it's almost unheard of in the any% categories for the mainline games, and has only recently become a thing as runs have gotten better and better with time. It's especially odd for a GTA game that's part of the 3D trilogy, a series of games with arguably the most eyes on them outside of GTA 5. On the 11th of November 2019, then up-and-coming runner Kamix set a new world record in the any% category with an hour and 1 minute flat time, beating the previous time held by veteran runner Chivu by 26 seconds. Chivu's run stood for 323 days, the second longest standing record by 19 days. Kamix's run is significant because it would be the first to implement one of the most difficult strats to date: replay a drop in the ocean. Normally in this mission, you have to wait for a plane to drop packages for you to collect. However, you can use replays to remotely pick up these packages. By the time all the packages are dropped, you can play a replay to pick them up and then finish the mission right away, saving 40 seconds. The difficulty comes in at having to know the exact location of each package and having limited reference points because you're in the water, making it high risk, high reward. At this point, I would have an underwhelming 103.09 on the leaderboard. It wouldn't be until a year later where I'd get a 101.20, a time that would not only be in second place, but 20 seconds away from the record. Around this time, I'd held the records for 2 out of the 4 categories, only recently just losing one, with another chance to collect another main category record in another game. But I did nothing with it. Eventually, top runners were getting better and better times, leaving me in the dust. Over the years, GTA 3 had broken many time barriers: 120, 110, 105, and now we were heading towards 1 hour. GTA 3 being beaten in under an hour had become a running joke in the community. It was a way to heckle runners. However, top runners were already privy to the very real possibility of sub 1. One of these runners would be Anti.
Starting the final mission for the final time. I don't have enough money! Never mind!
On the 19th of April 2020, Anti would beat the 101 run with the use of a strat nicknamed Elephant Sam. In brief, if you change the name of a custom skin in a very specific way, it would influence the coordinates for planes and trains in the game. The way that the any% category exploited this was on the mission Sam, where you have to shoot a plane down and collect its packages. There are a lot of packages in this. Previously, runners would have to travel to Shoreside Vale and shoot the plane down with a precise shot and travel back to Staunton to end the mission. With the use of this exploit, the plane flies through Staunton Island instead, cutting down on the travel back to the mission end. However, there is more wait time with Elephant Sam, which results in only a 10-second time save over the previous strat. None of this would matter, however, as custom skins would be banned not too long after, effectively banning the strat. But that wouldn't matter either, since Anti was at the time banned from the leaderboards. This would change on the 17th of April 2021, where after multiple appeals, he would be banned from all GTA leaderboards in a controversial decision by the GTA series mods. This would also be where you'd famously beat the Vice City any% no SSU record in less than 24 hours after his unban.
No fucking way, what? What the fuck, man?
His return to GTA 3 would not be immediate, but it would come in the form of a special occasion in the fall. Coming up would be the 20th anniversary of the release of Grand Theft Auto 3. To celebrate, Auntie was going to do some 90% runs. 20 of them in a row. The most interesting run comes in at number 9 if you're going by years. In each of these runs, Auntie's performing the first half of the game, Portland, using what's called the race route. There's a trick in the game called a man dupe. In traditional sense, it involves playing a replay that contains Claude picking up a rampage and then walking into a mission marker. The end result should be the mission and the rampage happening at the same time, with the rampage coming in a little later. This strat is infamous because it is dependent on cycles. If these events aren't lined up in a certain way, it will result in either entering a mission without a rampage or picking up a rampage without being on a mission. Both disastrous results, as usually the fastest recovery involves intentionally dying. You can enter missions while on a rampage using the side missions, but as a consequence to doing dupes and insta-passes with them, some of them are permanently broken, leaving the only fast option to man dupe. With the race route, it is possible to do all tricks that you'd normally do while also saving the side mission paramedic. The difference in routes commonly is cited to be 15 seconds, but due to the random nature of Portland, the exact number of how much slower isn't considered and is more or less seen as, it's just slower than world record. The run would be a relatively clean one, but due to the game crashing in the beginning, there was no way to know the final time for sure. But upon retiming, it would be 1 hour and 51 second run, being the fastest run ever done with race route at that point. But more importantly, it would be a brand new PB for Auntie. While that run was cool, there would be another run in a few weeks that would change the narrative behind Sub 1.
No, fuck, man. There it goes. Good run.
While this run would tragically end, it definitely spoke on what could happen. Kamix's 101.20 run was still the record, being 20 seconds away from the next barrier. But it took this run to put into people's minds that Sub 1 was not a matter of if, but when it would happen. In typical Auntie fashion, 24 hours later, he would finish a 1 hour and 25 second run, earning him a second place spot and very close to the record. But we all know what you're here for.
Get this thing out!
Residents in Cedar Grove have been coming to terms.
I slammed my desk and I muted my mic. I can't fucking believe I did it, man.
I forget, but you know what it's like. The sound of explosions shook nearby homes as people ran for cover. Several citizens were injured.
Dude, I did it, man. Oh my god. I did it.
The impact of this run cannot be understated. Auntie himself would go on to say that this run was his greatest achievement to date. A run which started off as a joke would go on to happen a lot sooner than anyone expected, even Auntie himself. Not only would this run be way ahead of its time, but it would freeze time. The top 3 for any percent would not change for nearly 2 years, with no run, not even from Auntie, coming within 30 seconds of this time for 643 days out of the 760 days. Some developments would eventually bring this run back to Earth, a development that is actually present in the run itself. On the 16th of November 2021, a little under a month before the record, runner Sunny would find a way to enter vehicles in an unusual way. It would be similar to an old 100% strat of entering a coach quicker. By playing a replay at the right time, you can partially skip the animation for entering a vehicle and jacking a vehicle. These would be called mega enters and mega jacks respectively. But there is a problem with this strat and why it's used so sparingly in the record run. This is a frame perfect strat, meaning you had 1/30th of a second in order to make the strat work. While this was great for mega jacking, it wouldn't be great for mega enters as it only skips opening the door. The difficulty combined with the very little payoff didn't make the strat a very attractive option. That is, until a second variant of the two strats were discovered. Attacking, whether that's with shooting or punching, made the time window a lot bigger. One of the first instances of this variant can be traced as far back as July 2022. However, not much was done with the strat at the time. It wouldn't be until 2023 where the potential of the strat would push the game to its limits. With this strat alone, it would highlight one of the biggest weak spots in the record run, Portland. Salvatore's call to meeting Instapass, or Scam IP for short, is considered the halfway point for the first island Portland. While not exactly halfway, Scam IP setup involves a bit of luck and is a common reset point. Because getting past this point can be annoying, it is one of the most cited time references in Portland. After passing Taking Out the Laundry, we def warp and immediately look for a taxi as the side mission for it will be used to instantly pass Scam. If you're lucky, you can get a taxi right away, but in Anti's case, he struggles to get a taxi and spends a lot of time spawning one. And I mean a lot of time. If you play a replay on the exact frame a rampage ends, you retain the weapon and the heaps of ammo given to you for the rampage. Anti, unfortunately, doesn't get that ammo. While not reset worthy, there are a few tricks that can be done with the M16 that can save a handful of seconds. The scam split for Anti would be a 12-13. For the time, this would be considered average, and when you combine the fact that he doesn't have an M16, it's not hard to see that this is not the strongest start. The best split at this point would just barely be sub 12, but the addition of Mega Jacks would change the standards of Portland entirely. Chivu would be one to test the boundaries of this segment and would eventually bring the best split time down to an 11:47, a whopping 26 seconds faster than the record. Need I remind you that the record was completely uncontested for well more than a calendar year, and it turns out you can be 26 seconds ahead of it in just the first 12 minutes alone. There would be another way of getting M16 ammo consistently with the use of zero frame replays. When playing an existing replay in its entirety, you can press F2 at the earliest possible frame and it will play back a blue screen. This blue screen is normally present when reaching another island. What makes this blue screen special is that it buffers inputs and helps make the process of getting ammo a little less precise. Runners even use a cross-island replay to get 30k rockets for the rest of the game. Getting M16 ammo nearly every time you make it past Scam almost guarantees future time save over the world record. And with an 11:47 in M16 ammo, you have the potential to be 30 seconds ahead. Of course, the time save with Mega Jacks doesn't only apply to Portland, but can be implemented everywhere. And if there were any strat that could help someone surpass Anti, it would be this one. The summer of 2023 would be a very busy time for GTA 3 100%. After 3 years of having a 101.20 and struggling to beat it, I decided to have a change of scenery. It wouldn't be easy at first, getting a few slower times, but eventually I would get a 101.17. A very small PB, but huge progress in managing to end a long, dry streak. And with a 137, I was finally able to break top 3. While I did surpass Chivu here, he was setting eye-watering times everywhere else. Eventually, the Canada sessions would be over, but me moving up and up on the leaderboards wouldn't.